Hey guys, what's going on here? It's E-Rob back with week 2 of the MLP, going up against Mr. Bloopy, and we go way back. We basically build with each other every single week, every single match, bouncing ideas off each other. So if there's ever someone that's going to know what I do, how I build, why I build, and vice versa, this is it. He runs the SBL, which is the other league I'm in as well, so we get to play each other quite often. I think I play him week 4 for that league, so we'll have another battle for him coming up quickly. But let's get into the teams here. So as you can see, he has a Tapu Koko, a Kingdra, an Alolan Persian, a Mega Mawile, a Pelipper, and Nidoqueen in front of us, which is a pretty threatening team, but he left even more threats in the back. He left back a Hawlucha, so he had Weather and Kokolucha. He left back an Uxie, Ditto, and Savali. And when prepping for this game, I kind of just ruled out Ditto right away. Didn't think it would come. Ditto's nice for when you're worried about setup happening against you, but my playstyle doesn't really lend to that, especially with this team. And I drafted a lot of excellent counters to my threats, so like Excadrill, I have a Celesteela, so yeah, you can turn your Ditto into that if you want, but I have a Celesteela in the back to wall it. I have my Heracross, which dents everything, but I have Mega Sableye, which is a pretty good check to that. So he won't have my Guts boost. So a lot of things like that. I just didn't think Ditto was a viable option. He has Silvally, which could have been unique and kind of cool, but based on what I know about his playstyle and how he builds, Silvally doesn't quite fit into it that well, I don't think. I know why he has it. The team's based around momentum, hard hitters, and Parting Shot allows for setup with Hawlucha even more than it already has, and gives good opportunities for Kingdra if it can't quite knock something out to live a hit, knock it out again. So I get why it's on his team, but I didn't think it would come against me just because I didn't think that that was something he'd be comfortable bringing. I was really only prepared for the Koko, Luchacore, the Kingdra and Pelipper core, his Mega Mawile, and then I was expecting either Nidoqueen or Uxie. That's the 6 of the 7 I was expecting. I thought that would be it. He ended up sticking pretty close to that. He brought the Alolan Persian, which I don't quite understand why. It was brought against me in my mock as well, and I get it, it's for the momentum, but I don't quite see what it does against my team. The mock brought it, he brought it, so there must be something I'm missing with Alolan Persian. But I was happy to see it as opposed to Hawlucha, for sure. So, my team, I've got kind of an interesting squad here. Didn't bring Celesteela, I thought it was too pressured to be especially and physically defensive, didn't like its offensive matchup, and I didn't want the headache of trying to guess what it needed to be for that specific matchup. So I left that behind. Tyranitar, I didn't want a Weather War. Figured it's going to be a race to the slowest speed to keep your weather up, and I just didn't want to deal with that. And though it would have been nice, it loses the Mega Mawile pretty easily. It's not going to knock out Nidoqueen very easily. You're constantly dealing with the Weather War with Pelipper, where it doesn't have a great advantage against it. It's got some, but you have to rely on Stone Edge. And I just didn't want it. It didn't work out for this match very well. My Aeron, same thing. I'm not going to bring Weather. Aeron's not an option. Ambipom would have been nice for a fake out and the weather, but I opted for Comfy to be my kind of weather and Kokolucha deterrent. And Gothorita, thought about it, but really thought that the 6 on the screen were better, and the only real option I had for Gothorita was to try and trap the Nidoqueen, and I thought I had other ways to chip that thing down effectively to clear away for Comfy. So going into this match, the whole team was built around Comfey, and I was going to play extra safe, ultra conservative with it, because it's got a great matchup against the Kingdra and the Hawlucha, the 2 biggest threats to my team. All I need on both of those, if he runs the predicted HP, defense, whatever spreads that I'm predicting, is about 30% on Hawlucha and about 40% on Kingdra. And so everything is designed around getting chip on those things to that range. Celebi here it's got quite an interesting spread. It's like 120 something in HP, 220 something in defense. It's got its modest nature with like 80 something in special attack and 60 something in speed. And the whole goal is to outspeed Nidoqueen if he's running modest or bold or whatever, basically non-jolly or timid. And it's going to knock it out. and it's got a Koba berry so that if Hawlucha gets to +2, it's going to comfortably live in acrobatics after the item has been popped. So it's kind of a jack of all trades. Its main thing is Nidoqueen. I don't see Hawlucha. I know I get to play a little wilder and reckless with this thing because the main thing it was for was to be a safety blanket for Hawlucha. With its spread, it was guaranteed to knock it out with Psychic if it was at 88% or less. So the set on that is going to be Shockwave to catch the Pelipper if I need to, Psychic for the Nidoqueen and the Hawlucha, U-turn to keep momentum, and recover for longevity and to just pivot in and out as needed. So I have my Comfy here. It's EV'd. It's got a little bit of speed, again, the same benchmark to outspeed that Nidoqueen. It also outspeeds max speed Mawile as well, so I won't be caught guard with like an Iron Head or anything. The main point with this is, again, it's the emergency stop to Pelipper, or to Kingdra and to Hawlucha. It's got HP ground because the only switch-ins to Draining Kiss are Mawile and Nidoqueen, and both are weak to ground. It's got Calm Mind, Draining Kiss, and the U-turn again for momentum if I need it. I thought about Defog, but I thought I'm never going to click that with this thing. It's either going to be in to knock something out in an emergency situation, or it's going to be trying to set up. So I thought if I wanted to delay that, U-turn's a better option, and it gets into some more of my hard hitters. I have my Excadrill here. It is Iron Head, Earthquake, Rapid Spin, Rock Slide, and it's got a ton of HP, a little bit of speed, Jolly Nature, and it is a Choice Scarf set. I went back and forth on this a lot. My main Coco answer, and so I had Assault Vest for a while, I had Pasho Berry, I thought, oh, I can wish into it with Vaporeon and make it a really big, bulky pivot, but ultimately I settled on Scarf because I wanted the emergency speed at the end of the game if I needed it. With the HP, if I could stay above 50%, I can load a Sucker Punch from neutral Mega Mawile, so that's always a plus as well. And it's going to knock out anything but the bulkiest of Nidoqueens, so that's what I'm rocking with there. I've got a mostly specially defensive Vaporeon. I guess it's more mixed than anything. It's max HP, it's got a bunch of defense EVs, some special defense EVs, and a special defense boosting nature. And the idea here was to live a +2 hit from Hawlucha and in 2 Specs Dracos from Kingdra. So basically, I'm living a hit no matter what. That's the goal here. It's got Wish Protect, stall off the rain turns, keep longevity there. Scald, just so that's my most spammable move. And then Roar, because I'm really expecting a sub Kingdra. Normally I would not expect this in the slightest, but we build together so much that I know one of our always game plans is when we're building is, what's a typical wall that we'd expect to come in that we take advantage of, and how can we use sub to take advantage of it and run a weird set around it? So I thought this screams sub, this Kingdra did, but I still had to prepare as if it was specs, but in my back of my head, I was like, it's gotta be sub, it's gotta be sub. What the other 3 moves are, I have no idea. What the item would be, no idea. But I knew sub was a legit option, and so I had Roar just for that. I have Heracross here. If you look at his whole team, nothing at all enjoys taking a hit from Heracross. Even the resisted hits. Like, unless he's the bulkiest of Nidoqueens, a Guts close combat is over 50%. So I went just all out attacking with this, and the idea was that the momentum that I had with my other members in the Celebi and the Comfey get in my Heracross over and over again, knock things out. So I'm close combat, Mega Horn was for the Uxie, knocks out at 100% every time. Earthquake, because I really needed a ton of damage on Nidoqueen in one hit. I thought about protecting that slot, but opted not to. And then Facade, just for neutral coverage on everything. So that is that. It's Adamant Nature, so I'm really banking on a non-timid or jolly Nidoqueen. If he brings that, I'm going to roll a hurt because all my benchmarks are assuming he won't bring that. Then finally, I have a Mega Sableye here, and the idea behind this is I think I'll catch him off guard because he's going to expect me to run a setup one, because that's what I usually run, is a Calm Mind 2 attack or Calm Mind 1 attack status with Recover. But the idea is not for that with this one. The idea is, this is how I want to get my 30% on Hawlucha, 40% on Kingdra. It's EV to take a +2 acrobatics from Hawlucha and to live any 1 specs hit from the Kingdra. So I have Fake Out to guarantee get some chip off. I have Nightshade to do some guaranteed damage and not let things sub up on me. Recover and Will-O-Wisp because I was also kind of fearing Banded Kingdra, which I thought was a decent bring against me. And in the back of my mind, I was prepped for it, with thinking that he'd try to think that I would think it'd be Specs. So I have Will-O-Wisp, and because he brought that, then I thought everything would not appreciate a Wisp. So that's my team. Not seeing Hawlucha, as I mentioned earlier, I feel more free to play recklessly with my Celebi. And so I think, based on the team he brought, he's either going to bring lead Pelipper to keep the rain up immediately, or Nidoqueen to try and catch me off guard and get rocks up, knowing that I don't usually lead my Sableye. So I'm going to lead Celebi, and he is going to lead with his Tapu Koko, and so I'm already in a bad spot. I have my Excadrill, which is a great counter, but I know for sure he's going for U-turn this turn. There's no reason he wouldn't. I know he's not going to Volt Switch his momentum, knowing I have Excadrill, and he had to know it was going to come, because he had to at least be prepared for a Weather War. So I know he's going to expect that the drill's coming in, but I can't really do anything about it. I can't let Celebi take damage this early, because it's still useful to me. But not as useful as I planned, it still does stuff for me. So I'm going to swap out into Drill. He's going to go for the U-turn, as expected. And he goes into Pelipper, and I'm in the Vortex now. I know he's going to U-turn. I need to go out into Mega Sableye. It's the only thing I really don't mind taking a hit. The whole goal again with this thing is just to be annoying and get chip. So I'm going to Fake Out here because every chip matters on Mawile. I need damage on it to knock it out with Comfey or Heracross. He's going to go Play Rough as I try and pivot in here. And this damage, I didn't take as well as I wanted, but I know that I can recover, hoping for him to miss. And I kept expecting a Sucker Punch there. So that's why I recover here. He goes right out into his Persian. Not quite sure what the switch was for. I don't know what he's predicting. I'm going to get out because I'm expecting U-turn or Foul Play. I don't want to take that quite yet. Back out to Sableye. I'm in that rough spot again. I have to get out. So it's kind of rinse repeat, but I was at 10% less health this time. So I'm going to recover up again. This time I'm just so stuck in the cycle, I'm going to let him U-turn. And I am also going to U-turn right out of there. Would have been a great prediction to get a Psychic off, but I didn't. So as he goes into Nidoqueen and I U-turn out, I figure I need to get up my guts on my Heracross because eventually I'm going to have to sack something because I'm constantly behind the 8 ball on these pivots and U-turns. So I want to get the guts boost in now so I can guaranteed knock something out. I eventually have to feel like I sack to Mega Mawile and I can come in and just nuke something. So I want, if he's going to play this pivot game, I want it to be where if I lose him on to sacking it to Mega Mawile, I come right into Heracross and I nuke something right back. So I'm not falling behind too far in the game. If he wants to bring his heavy hitters, I'm going to bring mine in. So what I'm going to do, not in the Nidoqueen set quite yet, I'm going to pivot out trying to catch him on rocks or T-Spikes. Not going to happen. He's going to U-turn. And I'm going to go for the Wisp here, hoping that I catch a physical Koko, but I don't. I'm going to switch out here. He's going to go for the Gleam. And I'm going to predict him right here. I'm going to go for Rock Slide, predicting him to think I'd be Scarf. Because I didn't bring Weather, the most likely set I thought he'd predict would be Scarf. And so, Koko, if you look at my team with U-turn, Thunderbolt, Gleam, like my team doesn't take hits well from it outside of Excadrill, and he's slowly chipping it down. So I didn't think he'd risk his Koko here. But he does. It reveals to have some bulk as I go for Rock Slide. And he's going to U-turn out. So again, he's got the momentum. I'm stuck into Rock Slide. He's got Nidoqueen in. I'm going to go into Celebi predicting Earth Power. He subs up, which really surprised me. And he's going to use that to get his rocks up as I break the sub. He goes back into Mawile as I recover up, and I still need help in this thing. Still important to me. I'm going to go for Psychic here. It would have been awesome to predict and go for Shockwave, which I have in this thing. He goes into Pelipper. I go for the Shockwave here. Chip down on the Persian a little bit. He's going to go for Foul Play. I'm kind of scouting out, predicting him to U-turn again, actually. So I'm going to recover. This time he's going to go for U-turn, though. And he goes back out in Mega Mawile. as I U-turn as well. Shockwave would have been nice there as well. But I'm going to go into my Heracross. I know I can still take a Sucker Punch at this range. I need to be above about 50% for that to happen. And it's time for him to pick a sack. So I get ahead on the momentum there finally in this game. Get the close combat on the Nidoqueen, knock out with the Sod. At this point, he doesn't care. He got his rocks up. His coverage after the game is revealed to not be that great against my team. So it was the right play to sack it there. I'm going to switch out here on the Koko into Sableye, correcting their U-turn or not caring if I go down. I'm comfortable with Sableye going down there because there's no Hawlucha, and I feel like I have pretty solid checks to Kingdra. I still have my emergency check in Comfy to get the damage off, and I have the Vaporeon that I think will handle it pretty easily. So I'm comfortable letting Sableye go down there on a wrong prediction, but I was not predicting Gleam. I was really predicting U-turn for the most part. So he's going to get that right, knock me out. I'm going to go to Saddleby because this is a chance for me to recover up. He's going to Roost, which also surprised me. I wasn't expecting Roost on this set. Thought it was just going to be a 4-attack Defog or 3-attack, you know. Didn't expect Roost. I'm going to go for Shockwave, just thinking we might just be in a stall war here for a bit, which is something I was willing to do because I don't have anything to pivot into this thing. He's going to U-turn, I recover. And I'm going to go for Shockwave here to get some Electric Train boosted damage off this thing. So here, he goes for the Swords Dance, which at this point in the match, I thought if he had it, he would have gone for it by now, but he did not, and he caught me way off guard when he Sucker Punched there, or when he Swords Dance into Sucker Punch, and I thought, man, if he had that, he had all this time to go for it, so I don't know if he was like really scouting hard for me to have Earth Power on this thing, or what. But I would have revealed the Swords Dance way earlier in the match if I was him, especially after the first round of him seeing all I could do is recover out on him. So he's going to go for that here. He's going to Sucker Punch and knock me out. And I'm going to go into my Vaporeon, which I ran a ton of speed. Not a ton. I ran a good amount of speed on my Vaporeon, predicting him to be creeping me, creeping him, creeping a Tyranitar or Celesteela. So to break that down into a more simple term, basics D1 speed, Celesteela, Tyranitar. I thought Mawile would be running speed to outspeed those. Not only did I think that, I thought he would predict my basics D5 Vaporeon to be predicting his Mawile to be creeping those. So he outcrept that, and it turns out that he talked with some people in our SBL mod chat group, some people that are quite skilled, and he asked them kind of about success and stuff, and they said, oh, run a ton of speed on Mawile. So he got me on that. All those brains beat me. Big Brain Gaten, if you were a part of that, it's going to make me really sad. So he's going to knock me out. So I waste Vaporeon. Now I'm thinking, oh, great. I don't have any chip on Kingdra. I lost Vaporeon. Heracross and Excadrill are chipped enough that they cannot take +2 Sucker Punches, so it could be 5-0 right here. My only chance is I have my Expert Belt, Comfey, Modest, 252, HP round. I know I guarantee outspeed. I don't care if he's going to... if he goes for the Sucker Punch, because I'll recover all the back on whatever else he goes into. And so my only play here is to go into Comfy and pray for the roll. So that's what I do. And I'm going to get lucky and I'm going to get it. And knock that thing out. And so it would have been lovely to have done that while saving Vaporeon, but I thought it was going to be faster, and if I lost Comfy there, the game was totally over. It was just over. So I still think going Vaporeon was the right play and banking on me being faster to get that chip to guaranteed knock out the Mega Mawile with Comfy, but it was a play I had to make. So here I am now. It's 4-3, but I'm not in a great spot. Doing some calcs here, and I know that Koko it's a roll to kill me if he's max special attack. So I have not a ton of investment. It's just enough to live from 100% from a Kingdra. So I know that the odds are not great for me on this, and if he's going to do the Roost stuff, I don't want to be in that situation. So I'm going to sack off my Heracross here. I don't see the situation where I get it in versus Pelipper only. So I'm going to sack that off right here. And I'm going to go into my Excadrill. And the only chance I see to win here is if I double out. And so That's what I ended up doing, but I thought a long time before stacking Heracross, and so I was really planning out what I was going to do, what I was going to let drop, and I knew that the only way for this to work is I had to go into Excadrill after stacking Heracross. I had to double out, because I had to get a Calm Mind up. That was the only way I was going to win this game, so I got a Calm Mind up, and from there it would be a sweep. So I know that he needs Coco alive to knock out Pelipper, or knock out my company. Nothing else can. And predicting him to go into Pelipper, I'm going to swap out into my Comfey and just praying he doesn't double Thunderbolt or try and sack this thing. He doesn't. Again, now I'm hoping that just for longevity's sake, he doesn't have Toxic, but at this point, I'm going for game. I get off my Calm Mind, go for Draining Kiss. Don't knock out the Kingdra, so he's running a good amount of HP, it looks like. And based on the damage here, we're going to see, as I get back to full, it's not Specs either. So a crit there still would have won it, but it didn't happen. I'm going to Draining Kiss up. If I were him, I probably would have gone into Coco here, just for the crit chance, but he didn't. Going to knock out the Alolan Persian, and now we are in on the Coco, just going to keep Draining Kissing over and over and over again. I only need the +1, nothing more. Going to get close to knocking it out, and in comes the Pelipper. So we're going to reverse sweep Mr. Bloopy here. In a very close game, he had me on the ropes. He had the momentum almost the entire game. So he's going to Hurricane here. I'm going to break through confusion though. He had me on the ropes almost the entire game, and he really had me back to the corner as he got all the momentum plays right, and Mega Mawile was just dropping him on every time it came in. And I really do think though, if he would have revealed Sucker Punch or Swords Dance, both those earlier in the game, he would have been in the spot where the Mega Mawile wasn't chipped down to 55% and it wouldn't have been a roll. I think he could have ended this game way earlier had he just gone for Swords Dance. Once he figured out I didn't have Earth Power, and that might have been a gamble for him because he eventually went for Swords Dance when I revealed my full set with Celebi, but after the first time and then especially the second time, I feel like you have to pull the trigger on the Swords Dance there because nothing's taking hits from it, and I didn't get the chip on it with Shockwave until way later in the match, so I think that's probably where the match turned, but he didn't pull that trigger. He still got a bunch of kills, and it still came down to me had to make a really good double at the end to pull that one out. So that's going to be week 2. We play Deputy Adam, so we're fighting the Cops next match. He's got a pretty cool, again, another hyper offensive team, so we're really going to push our comfort zones these first 3 weeks. But yeah, I'm happy to get out of the first 2 weeks 1-1. I think those were my 2 toughest matchups, were Mr. Bloopy here, and then who did I play week 1? Shay. Like, those were just insane hyper offense teams that I don't really check. So looking forward to week 3, good match Mr. Bloopy, and we'll see if we can take him down again in SBL. So thanks for watching.